Don't women know this by now that free drinks come with a
price?
Yeah, they come with a price. There's no such thing as free.
Well, sometimes you can zoot out and you get the free drink and you don't have to have any uncomfortable interactions. But I learned this weekend that nothing in life is free. And I had to learn it the hard way when me and my friend decided to go out and, I don't want to say scam, but we schmoozed our way into getting like $100 worth of beverages at the St. Regis Hotel.
Yes. Oh, damn, that's one drink.
We shared one. We were like, please, sir, just give us one glass of wine.
Listen, ladies in Atlanta know the St. Regis bar is the place to go if you're looking for a sugar daddy.
That's where the Richies are right there.
Yes.
But they know what they're there for also.
Yeah, they do. I think so. So me and her decided to have a girls' night out. There's a new restaurant in Buckhead called Del Bar that has a couple of locations already around Atlanta. And I've been to all of them. I've been to the Inman Park one. I've been to the one in Alpharetta. And I was like, oh, perfect. There's one down the street for me. Why don't we go check it out, have a girls' night, and maybe bop around to some of the fancy cocktail bars. So we go to Del Bar, loved it, had a great time. And then I look at her and I was like, I'm not ready for this night to end. You know when you have that second glass of wine and you're kind of teetering where like you could either go home, call it a night, not have any shenanigans happen, or you could just cause a little bit more commotion, a little bit more chaos on a Friday night.
That decision can also happen in a bathroom when you look at yourself and you're like, oh, I look too good to go home tonight.
Never want to waste a good outfit in a full beat.
I was like, if I'm putting my hair on, if I'm putting my makeup on, if I've got the contour going, I need someone to appreciate it. So we wrap up our checks at the restaurant and I look at her, I'm like, you know where we should go? I was like, this is kind of the perfect time of night. We had gotten kind of an early reservation, so we're wrapping up around like 7:30. I was like, this is usually when the old men at the St. Regis start to get a little tipsy and are about to head home for the night. Because the St. Regis kind of has like a pivot point at the St. Regis bar. Like around 9 p.m. is when people my age start really clocking in. But if you go there from like 7 to 9 on a weekend, maybe not a weekday, you're going to find yourself a sugar daddy. So we roll up to the St. Regis bar down in Buckhead and there's like a perfect spot. There are 2 seats, one for me, one for her, right next to a group of men, probably in their early 40s. So we're like, perfect, because men in their 30s could still kind of maybe like scoff at us and like say we're the 18-year-olds, but the 40-year-olds, like they're fine with somebody in their late 20s.
And fun fact, the men in this city in their 40s refuse to date any woman unless she's in her 20s.
In this city or in this country? Or in this globe? In the world.
It triggers a little high here in the Atlanta area.
There's Peter Pan syndrome in Atlanta for sure.
Oh, yeah.
So we sit down next to them and there were 4 of them. And so we start like organically starting up some conversations. And we honestly, for all intents and purposes, like we were going to order at least our first round of drinks. We're like, we'll order a glass of wine. We'll order an espresso martini. And, maybe if we're lucky, we'll get an extra bev out of this. But immediately, like these guys just instantly like globbed onto us and were so interested in our lives. And I was like, oh, this is perfect.
It's a group of guys or 2 guys?
There's 3 guys.
Okay.
So we're sitting there and the waiter comes around, asks me for my order. I tell him what I want. And he goes, do you want the 6 ounce, the 9 ounce, or the whatever ounce? And I'm like, just a small one, just a small glass. Cause it's again, $25 for 6 ounces. And he takes away the menu. He pours my drink. And he fills it literally like Dwight Schrute style all the way to the top. And I'm like, sir, I can't afford that. And the guy next to me goes, don't worry, this one's on me. Because I did the smart thing, ladies, because I was asking what their recommendations were. I was like, oh, so like what glass of wine are you drinking? And he's like, oh, I'm drinking the from Sicily, Italy. And I was like, sir, I'll have one of those. And so he was so flattered that I chose his wine. I think he was like, okay, I'll pay for yours.
Okay, it sounds expensive.
It was literally like $25 for a 6 ounce. So I ended up getting the glass of wine. And then all of a sudden, once we got our beverages, that's when they started moving in a little bit closer. And there was this one guy, we'll call him Jack. Jack comes around, he like puts his arm around me and he's like talking to my friend. I'm like, whatever, this is kind of like, this is how it typically goes.
Of course, you call it wine, we call it bait.
Yeah. he's like bending down. He's like, why don't you girls follow me on Instagram? I'm like, you're like 50 years old, my guy. I'm not
follow me on MySpace.
I'm friends with Tom. He's like, do you want to sign my yearbook? I'm like, no, it's from like 1975. And then, that kind of happens with another guy and they come around, they put their arms around us and they definitely, I don't know if they start thinking that we're like ladies of the night or whatever. But then we start getting in this conversation with this one guy. The 2 guys had left, they were like inviting us to the Garden Room, which is another restaurant down the road. And they're like, we'll see you guys in 30 minutes. And we're like, see you never. And this one guy stayed, and he wasn't really that drunk, but he just said the most jarring thing that could have come out of his mouth. It caught us so off guard because it wasn't sexual. It wasn't like he was coming on to us. It was, I think we realized that one of the other costs of talking to these older men at the bar is that sometimes you have to listen to them vent about their home lives.
Oh, God.
And this man, I guess, has like a complicated situation with his baby mama. He was venting about her and how she's so lazy and she doesn't do anything. And then he looks at me and my friend directly in the eye. And for context, we're both white women. And he looks at us both and goes, did you know that white women were the reason for slavery? And we're like, what? Why are you?
That took a turn.
And we're like, what? We're like,
I think there's some context here. Is this a white dude or a black dude?
it's not a black dude and it's not a white dude. So that's why we were really caught off guard too. We're like, where is this coming from? Like, you're mad about something and it's not us. And we're just kind of sitting there and I just look at him and I go, that's an insane thing to say. That's what you said. Dead ass. I look at him. I had no idea how to respond. But then as a woman, as an empathetic white woman with some guilt, I go, wait, do I have my facts wrong? Were white women the reason for slavery? And then I'm like looking at my friend. I was like, Google it. And then he just starts going on some tirade. And I look at her. I was like, we got to get out of here because we're about to get in some kind of debate.
You paid a price for that glass of wine.
I was like, I am not prepared to win this. So I was like, thank you so much for the conversation. It was lovely meeting you. I hope whatever's happening sorts itself out.
I hope you get to the bottom of this.
Sounds
I hope
about
we get to the bottom of this.
The Bert Show.